All right, hello everybody, and welcome to Patriots First and Goal. I am Alex Shane here, breaking down a massive Patriots win, a rare Patriots win with my good buddy Rich Hill. They finally did it. They took the Jets out 22-25. Rich Hill, a happy belated Halloween to you, and a more belated happy Victory Monday to you. How are you feeling about this amazing win over this staunch, stellar Jets team?
I mean, so we talked about this last year all the time, where the Patriots were competing for one of the first overall picks because they were so bad. And you and I had this agreement in that we wanted them to look competitive. We wanted the Patriots to still get a good draft pick. And there was always one exception for us. We wouldn't care if they lost the rest of the season, but we would love it if they beat the Jets. We were in complete agreement that we wanted the best draft pick possible, but if they fell because they beat the Jets, that was fine by me. And this is exactly what happened here. And I just couldn't stop laughing at how the Patriots beat them.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's they dropped from like first overall pick to third overall pick. Still plenty of time to catch up and get that number one overall pick back, so I'm not worried about it. But yeah, I mean, this was a great win in the respect. Not that the Patriots look particularly amazing. The Jets just aren't that good, but it's more just looking back on. I don't know if you checked how just miserable the Jets fans were following this loss, and if you go back to like August or even like July, just offseason in general, and the expectations surrounding this New York Jets team. There are some analysts had them like winning the AFC. They were a possible Super Bowl pick for some people. They were going to dethrone the Bills. Like they were the team. Rodgers is back, and the Patriots will be lucky to win kind of 3 or 4 games. That was kind of the expectation around these two teams, and they were both sitting there at 2-6 at the end of this game. Jets are now 3-6 following the Thursday night victory over the very injured Texans team. But it makes me just. It's funny. You have to just laugh at just the Jets are always they're just always going to find a way to do this to themselves. And I'm not one to like relish in misery. It's more just like, what's the definition of insanity? You know, doing the same thing over and over, expecting
a Jets fan,
different results. Yeah, it's just being a Jets fan. It's a great example of why I'd like to get of all the teams out there that are not going to win the Super Bowl, which I very much include the Jets on that. I'm very glad I'm a Patriots fan because at least I know my team's going to suck this year. I'm not just out there getting slapped around on national television. So it's nice.
Totally. Well, I mean, it's like how it was the last 2 seasons after Mac Jones' rookie year, when it's just like the Matt Patricia year was just so disappointing because there was expectations. We talked about this. If they could just be an average offense, they'd be fine. They'd be a playoff team. If they had an above average offense, they'd be a contender. And same thing, Bill O'Brien offense, we have a top 3 defense just wasting away. And obviously special teams was an issue as well, but where if they could just do something, we had that expectations. They were on the cusp, and then to have it come up short hurts so much more than going 2-6 so far through the first half of this year when there's 0 expectations. I would much rather have my bar set so low than have it set high and then just be disappointed. And that's where the Jets are. They just traded for Devontae Adams because they thought that he could help fix their ship, help get them back over the cusp. And then they go out there and lose to the Patriots. I laugh so much at the commentary coming out after that game of like, the Jets lost to the Patriots. And I just have to laugh alongside it because, the Patriots are pathetic this year. And it's funny to be the spoiler, especially when it's against the Jets.
No, it is. And you're kind of seeing they always come back, but there's always these certain games like the butt fumble game that happened. There are certain times like Jets fans, like finally they're getting out of that abusive relationship. I renounce my fandom. They always come back, but this is an I renounce my fandom kind of game. And it's always funny to see. Again, when you're a bad team, this is what you live for, right? You just screw up other people's seasons. When you were a good team, you're going for the championship. We were on the good end of that for a long time. But there are those games when the Patriots are good where, like, they'd lose to like the Browns or the Jaguars, the Lions, and they would make those guys seasons and rock on. I think they're still talking about the Miami Miracle, 10 years later. Just one of those things. And now they're a bad team. It's good to kind of take these small victories we can get them. In terms of small victories, though, Rich, obviously it wasn't as good as we was hoping because Drake May was out with a concussion early on. Thought he looked very good early on, very mobile, extensive plays with his legs. Didn't throw the ball a whole lot, but he seemed to have a command of the offense. He was getting better every single snap, it seems like. Brissett came in. He did fine, arguably his best game as a Patriot going back to 2014. Once Drake May went out, Rich, I mean, in terms of, building blocks for the future, looking at how the team's performing, looking towards 2025 and beyond, is there anything from this win you're taking away from this game offensively after Drake May went out? Or is it kind of more just treading water, wheels are spinning, glad they got the win?
Yeah, I mean, there's two elements on it. One is just how different of an offense they call with Jacoby Brissett versus Drake May, where they know Drake can throw the ball 15, 20 yards down the field. The average target depth for Drake May was almost 11 yards down the field. For Jacoby, it was a little over 7. They really just shrink the entire offense when it's Jacoby out there. And so obviously has a limiting effect on all the different receivers, the rest of the offense. It's not as potent as it is with Drake May. That said, I am not going to take too much away from the passing attack. I mean, it is what we saw under Jacoby for the first 6 games of the year, is just absolutely non-existent with him under center. Love seeing Booty just going out there, getting something, getting him involved. He has been one of the most productive receivers. Surprised Demario Douglas couldn't be more involved with Jacoby Brissett, who is allergic to throwing it in the middle of the field. But to me, the bigger takeaway is just that continued struggle running the ball and how much of an impact Drake May's legs provide to that rushing attack, right? I mean, you look at it, Ramondre Stevenson, 48 rushing yards on 20 carries, 2 scores. That's great. Drake May had 46 yards of his own on the ground on 3 carries. That's a 2-yard difference over 17 carries. And just having Drake May out there able to put stress on opposing defense is part of the reason why he's such a better quarterback under center than Jacoby Brissett. He adds such a different element that makes the game a lot easier for everybody else on the offense. And so to me, it's less about what do we learn from the other players and more, a reinforcement of how the offense is so different when it's not Drake May under center, that when he goes back out there, we can have a greater appreciation for the value that he's providing.
Which I think is a good takeaway, because obviously it's kind of a nice juxtaposition. It's like a before and after shot on like a weight loss photo. You see what this offense can be. I will say this as well, though. I think this goes for Drake May and Brissett. I think I'm not here to talk too much about the offensive line today, which is nice. Thought they looked okay, which is all you can really ask for. I think the real big takeaway is just maybe the things that could have been or would have been or maybe will be, just some of the throws we're watching Drake May make. Like I think obviously a candidate for one of the best throws of the year would have been, I think it was second and long, where he rolled out, evaded a defender, and hit Tyquan Thornton in the face mask, chest, hands, and helmet before he dropped it on the sideline there. Just a dime of a throw, and they're just dropping them. And that's okay. Those are just things that happen, right? It's not Drake May's fault. And again, if he's made a bad mental decision so far this season, I don't remember it. And the fact that we have a quarterback who's accurate, who can make plays with his legs, who can run. I think he's back to practice this week. We'll talk about that. Will he start later on in the podcast? But good things offensively. But again, I'm not taking too much away because he played so little. But the fact that Brissett generated a fourth quarter comeback drive, that was a great drive. I mean, he made a first down with his legs on 3rd and 9, dime to Booty to set the touchdown up. I think Booty scored. Honestly, they called it back around the line. I think he was the ball crossed the plane, but nothing to overturn it. I think this was as given these circumstances, this was as good a offensive victory as you can expect from a backup quarterback and receivers who can't catch. So all good things offensively. I think defensively they played pretty well too. I think we talked before. I think Christian Gonzalez is quietly having a Pro Bowl caliber season that nobody knows about because no one watches Patriots games, and for some reason there are analysts out there that thinks because he doesn't have a lot of interceptions or sacks or whatever, he's somehow not doing his job. But I think Christian Gonzalez should be on the Pro Bowl consideration, in my opinion.
Totally. I mean, the number of productive days against him are very limited, and he has been covering the best receivers in the entire league. It's a thing where they are matching him up against wide receiver ones, and he is doing a great job limiting them. He was targeted 4 times, only 2 catches allowed for 23 yards, and he was against Devontae for most of it. Obviously, Marcus Jones was the alternate recipient. He was getting toasted by Garrett Wilson for times through that day, but they were just hunting Marcus Jones as a weak point. But that's a testament to Christian Gonzalez, week in, week out, being asked to cover the best receiver on the other team and doing an effective job at it. I mean, I think of just the days when Bill Belichick was running these defenses, like he would live to have a player like Christian Gonzalez out there who could shut down the opposing receiver one, because it makes it so much easier for everyone else. Like, obviously would love to see them figure out their run defense to have a more productive day against the run. I'd say that it was like not their worst day out there. I think that they did a lot better than they have in recent weeks as it relates to stopping the run. But again, still room for improvement, still room for them to try and be stouter up at the line of scrimmage. I think it was that Breece Hall was averaging like 3.5 yards before contact, which means that the Jets were kind of controlling the line of scrimmage on that defensive front. And so it's just continued areas for improvement for them to be able to have. But Gonzalez standing out allows them to dedicate more resources to figuring out those problems.
Yeah, and also I do have to question why the Jets didn't run the ball more. I think 28 total carries as a team is insane. They almost had as many as Miranda Stevenson alone. I don't know why they didn't just run the ball a lot, why teams wouldn't run the ball a lot against the Patriots. Maybe that's some Aaron Rodgers wanting to pad his stats. I don't know. But I do want to make sure that I temper my expectations. I think the Jets' offensive game plan was pretty lousy in this game going against the Patriots. But again, that's what you do, and that's what the Jets do. They will always find a way. Again, man, I don't know. I think this is a great example of just maybe they responded to the soft comments, and maybe people were listening to how Mayo's lost the locker room and they banded together. I think it's a good bounce back game. I called this game to win. So they had to kind of bounce back. I think if they'd gotten taken behind the woodshed at home against the Jets, this Jets team, in the wake of this team's soft, John Mayo hasn't come into as a head coach, he's on the hot seat, all that nonsense. I think it would really bode poorly for the rest of the season. I'm not saying they've turned it around now and they're going to go on some 10-game winning streak or anything like that, but I think this was as close to a must-win game as a 1-6 team will get, and they got it. And they have another nice one against the Titans to kind of maybe keep the momentum going. I think they did all they could do with the personnel they had out there and what we had to work with. I think you can't ask for much more from this team on those expectations this week. And you just got to be happy with a 1-win season, 2-win season, 4-win season, whatever the case may be. And you got to build off from here.
Totally. And like you're looking for the incremental improvements, right? That was the issue over the first 7 weeks of the year, that they just looked worse in each successive game. And we're not looking for perfection because they're a bad team. We're just looking for it to look like they're going in the right direction. And this was a look in the right direction, right? Like on special teams, obviously Gibson for the Jets had a big 40-yard return on a punt. But like other than that, pretty good job on special teams across the day, which is not something that has been the case consistently. Like they've been much better on special teams this year than in years past, but like they've had some breakdowns there. The big thing for me, missed tackles. 0 on the register for the Patriots this time in the game book. I know obviously, eye of the beholder on it, but they are listed for 0 missed tackles on defense versus the Jets had 9. That is massive. That is where the games are decided. That is where you get those extra yards. That is showing fundamentals. That is showing the commitment to doing the little things that make a big difference at the end of the day. If the Patriots had 5 missed tackles, they probably lose this game. Right. And so being able to be consistent on not having the missed tackles, being able to perform on special teams, winning kind of air quote, winning the penalty game. Obviously the yardage came out the same, but only 5 penalties on them versus 8 versus the Jets. Those are the little things that stack up a lot and are what is the difference between being, a 3-14 team and a 7-8 team or 7-9 team, or I guess these days it's 7-10, and then going from an average team to an above average team is being able to do those things well so that your talent is able to do better than others with similar talent. And so for them to do this against the Jets is great. As you said, they have an opportunity against the Titans this week to do it again against a worse team, which is very rare. And so it's one where we hope that they can continue to build it. And if they do it again, then this is where we point and say, hey, this is when they turn their season around.
And a special cap tip to Greg Zuerlein for missing a field goal and extra point, which made this win possible. I'm not going to sugarcoat that too. That definitely helped, not having that 4 points, winning by 3. But hey, rock on. Again, good win. Not a lot to take away from it because of the offensive woes, injury-wise, but they did what they had to do, and there's some pieces to build on. Hopefully they can build on it this week against the Titans in week 9 of the NFL somehow. Rich Hill, on the second down, go around the league. This Around the League is brought to you, as always, by PrizePicks, the best place to get real money sports action with over 10 million members and billions of dollars in awarded winnings. PrizePicks has made daily fantasy sports accessible to everybody, because all you have to do is pick more or less on at least 2 players for a shot to win up to 100 times your cash. You can run your game all season long on PrizePicks. It also now offers Venmo for quick and easy deposits and withdrawals into your accounts. And they put their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. That means when your picks hit, you can get your money in as little as 15 minutes. And if you sign up today, you can get $50 instantly when you play just $5. You don't even need to win to receive that bonus. It's guaranteed. And it offers weekly promotions that can lead up to big payouts like Taco Tuesday. Each Tuesday, PrizePicks offers select discount players projections up to 25% to provide even more value to your lineups. So just download the app today and use the code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. That is code CLNS to get $50 instantly after you play your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks, run your game. All right, Rich Hill, week 9 already is taking place.
Yep.
We wanted to give a little extra time this week. Hopefully, we can get some better Drake May news in terms of is he going to start or not. The Texans lost to the Jets yesterday. Very surprising. I don't know how much of that game you watched. I watched a little bit of it. It was on TV while I was doing some trick-or-treat duty with the Halloween kids. Classic Jets moment. I'm not sure if you saw the touchdown that wasn't. Had to laugh at that. But so interesting games this week, besides that one. I think Dolphins-Bills has potential to be a good one, even though Dolphins kind of stink this year. Raiders-Bengals is an intriguing game to me. But, of course, the big one for me, well, not the big one for me, but one I'm personally excited about is Buccaneers-Chiefs on Monday night. I don't know why. I just feel like that's going to be a barn burner of a game.
Yep. I know that the Bucs have been dealing with some injuries on offense, but the Chiefs are like one of the most underwhelming 7-0 teams in that I can remember. You know, they're one of the last undefeated team. They are barely getting by. They have had like a single score victory in maybe like 6 of their games. They are barely scraping by. The Bucs, if they were at full health, you know, obviously Godwin's dealing with his injury. Evans has been hurt. They're not fully healthy. If the Bucs were healthy, I'd say that they'd have a chance to pull off the upset here, hand the Chiefs their first loss of the year, even on the road. But at this point, I think the Chiefs will roll and keep going to 8-0. But also, I agree. This is like a great slate of games in the afternoon. You have the 6-1 Lions on the road against the 6-2 Packers in Green Bay in Lambeau. That's going to be a fun game in the afternoon. You have Joe Flacco at the helm leading the Colts against Sam Darnold and the Vikings, just like the island of misfit quarterbacks here, leading 2 teams that are in the playoff hunt very legitimately, and one where Joe Flacco could be his team. You know, one of his last hurrahs here, but he's clearly better than Anthony Richardson. But the one game that I feel like I'm looking at, or maybe I'll highlight 2. One is the Saints on the road against the Panthers. Obviously, keeping an eye on that first overall pick. If the Panthers upset the Saints, that goes a long way to helping the Patriots get a better draft pick overall. But specifically, 5-3 Broncos on the road against the 5-3 Ravens. That's a 1 p.m. game. I don't think anyone was really expecting it to be that great. Ravens are coming off of an upset loss to the Browns in Jameis Winston's first start for Cleveland. And then the Broncos, Bo Nix, offensive rookie of the month for how he's been performing for Denver. He's getting the offense moving. Not saying that they're exceptional by any degree, but he's getting it going and, you know, getting Sean Payton's offense in rhythm, and that'll go a long way. I think that the Ravens will win this one. I think that the loss of the Browns was more of a shock than anything. But if the Ravens lose here, it's going to put a bit of a damper on Lamar Jackson's season if they fall to 5-4 and really affect his ability to win the MVP, even though he should be running away with it.
What about the AFC East matchup, Hill? Do you see the Dolphins upsetting the Bills at home by any stretch of the imagination? It's wild to me. The Bills are 6-2, and the Jets are now currently in second place in the division at 3-6. That gap is just so wide.
Yeah, the Bills are going to win this division in like 3 weeks. I think that the Dolphins are still underwhelming. It wasn't just going from Tua to whoever was able to play at quarterback, whether Skylar Thompson or whoever else was an option for them. They have a lot of other issues across their team, and I don't think that they have it in them to pull it off. I think that they are just functionally a bad team. You look at, obviously, with Tua out, they were barely able to score 2 times in a given game. It was really non-functional, and they just lost to the Cardinals. Obviously, it was like their best offensive performance, scoring 27 points of the year. So maybe they'll flip the script, and this will be the game that they turn it around. But I don't think we've seen anything from this Dolphins team so far this year that lets me feel like they can pull it off against the Bills.
No, it's true. I mean, there's a legit chance the Bills could be AFC East champs by Thanksgiving, which harkens back to like the '07 Patriots when they were like 9-0 and the rest of the AFC East stunk. So the Bills, congratulations on your early AFC East championship and your close to immediate playoff exit that we all know is coming. Sucks for you guys. Well, those are the pretty big games I want to talk about around the
Yep.
league. Should be kind of fun, but the one that matters to all of us, of course, is just a marquee matchup between the horrible Patriots and the possibly more horrible Tennessee Titans. This is not going to be a very heavily watched game. I can't imagine
What do
anybody
you mean?
outside of New England and the Tennessee area having any interest in this game unless you happen to have any one of these players on your fantasy team. But if you have a Patriot or Titan on your fantasy team, I feel like you are in bye week hell right now. So I guess let's start. The big question mark is do you think Drake May will start? He is currently practicing.
Mhm.
I think he's on stage 3 or 4 of the 5-step concussion protocol, which is promising but not guaranteed. And if Drake May starts, that obviously changes the calculus in terms of how this offense approaches the game. But let's stick with the offense versus the Titans defense, Rich. Regardless of who's under center, is this a run first game trying to establish the run, or is this kind of attack a Titans secondary with Brissett and or May?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's a situation where I hope Drake May is ready to go. He's practicing. He's trending in the right way there. Do they run the ball pretty well? This is an underperforming Titans team for some reason, right? I'm going to rattle off some numbers to you. In part, it's because their offense is so bad. This is like opposite of what the Patriots have been in years past. Or I guess kind of like more similar to it. They rank number 1 in the entire league in yards allowed per drive, number 2 in plays allowed per drive, and number 1 in pass attempts. Like no one or not in passing yards allowed. They number 1 in first downs allowed. All of these things would be like, oh, okay, are they good? But fundamentally, they're actually really, really bad. It's because the offense just puts them in the worst possible position. So the Patriots are probably going to get a lot of short fields here. That's what this is all this is meaning is that Mason Rudolph, if he's under center, Will Levis as well, they are loose with the football. There are going to be a ton of opportunities for the Patriots to have short fields here. And so can New England capitalize on this while they're on offense? And how to do it? You can run the ball with some success against the team. They're like a middling run defense. They are also one that teams have had success kind of just like dinking and dunking against them to move down the field. My X factor is going to be Demario Douglas. I think that he should be set up to have a big game, or Hunter Henry as well in the red zone. But I think that this is going to be a situation where either Henry or Douglas goes out there and has like 2 scores on the day, especially if Drake May is out there, because I think that New England's going to be able to have some success moving the ball into the end zone off of some of these short fields. So I don't necessarily think they have to run the ball in order to do it, but I think that the best path is kind of attacking their linebackers where they're a little bit weaker.
Yeah, man, I also think that this is a good game to kind of reestablish the run the way they haven't really been able to do as of late. We always talked about how whether it was going to be Brissett or Drake May during the offseason, the preseason games, you want to be a run-heavy team. Obviously, with the offensive line being what it's been and the injuries that are racked up along the offensive line, they couldn't really do that. But this has not been a team that runs the ball exceptionally well over the last couple of weeks. And this might be a way to reestablish the run. Not a great run defense. There's a scenario where I think they can have maybe another 100-yard day for Amandre Stevenson. I'd love to see that. I'm going to make him my X factor, but more just the running back room in general is my X factor. I think this is a good way to really establish that, particularly if Drake May does play. I'm guessing they want to try and limit his contact and not make him the leading rusher. So I'd love to see them kind of do some slow, steady, especially on short fields. If they can really, really grind this defense out, the Titans generate some give some turnovers away, and the defense has to defend short fields on long drives over and over and over again. This might be kind of the Patriots' victory that I thought we'd see a lot more, where they just kind of played clock control, a lot of quick outs, use a tight end to chip in the flat, some out routes. Maybe Antonio Gibson takes the screen, things like that, just to kind of just death by 1,000 cuts. And I think the way to do that is maybe reestablish the run and continue to build off momentum that the offensive line built in this Jets game, and stop becoming a laughingstock and become more of a. They don't need to be the best offensive line in the league, but I just love for them to be a unit we just aren't talking about every single Monday. And they have a chance to do that today on Sunday.
Totally. Yeah, and I think they're going up against one of the best defensive linemen in the league in Jeffrey Simmons, like very much so one of the best disruptors in the interior. So the Patriots will have their hands full, but one where they should be able to scheme around it. Like Harold Landry is good on the edge for the Titans as well, but there's enough weak points in this Titans defensive front that any good offensive coordinator can and should be able to orient the rushing attack away from them to have some success. Like other teams are doing it. I love what you're saying about getting the players open in space, because I think that's where a lot of the weakness of this Titans team is in the secondary and at that second level. And if you can cause one of the players to miss, there's going to be a lot of room to operate. I think they're stronger at the safety spot. Quandre Diggs, Amani Hooker are two of the better safeties in the league, in my opinion. I like them. I like their flexibility. They have a good attention to the ball. And so it's one where if you want to avoid the deep middle, but you use the sideline with those swing passes, with those quick screens outside, they have those injuries in the secondary, or just like limited production out of their cornerbacks that I feel like they should be able to get some yards on those quick passes outside.
Yeah, I mean, again, that's also bodes well if this is a Brissett game as opposed to a Drake May game. Again, Brissett is not going to be the guy launching it downfield 30 yards the way Drake May has been the past couple of weeks. Brissett, he doesn't like the middle of the field, but he's good at the quick out routes. He can throw it short. And maybe they can, the way the Patriots used to use kind of the passing game as the running game in years past, maybe they can do that a little bit with this one. So you think 2 scores for Demario Douglas and or Hunter Henry, or 2 scores each, or 2 scores in the 2 of them? What's your thought?
2 scores each would be phenomenal.
Yeah, right?
No, I'm expecting 2 across them. I think you look at who's been productive against this Titans defense. You have a lot of running backs producing stuff, but you look at who's doing it in the middle of the field. I think that's where you get some of the slot production, and whether it's like using the running backs as an extension of the slot, just like that short game. I think that the Patriots interior will be able to get some production here.
Yeah, that'd be great. I don't think this is necessarily a must-win game the way the Jets game was a must-win game. This is a very winnable game, and it'd be nice to see the Patriots offense just find a rhythm. Like, I wouldn't say they were any kind of a rhythm against the Jets. They did what they needed to do, and they were able to score at the very end there. But it's not like the Patriots have been super efficient on offense all season. Maybe this is the way they can do that. But it's all about complementary football, Rich Hill. So let's go on to 4th and goal here. Patriots defense versus Titans offense. Will Levis seems to be practicing, so if I had to bet, I think he'll probably be under center. Not that he represents some massive upgrade over Mason Rudolph. They're really struggling offensively this year, mainly through to one thing Drake May does not have going for him, which is bad decision-making. There's been some very bad choices made. Some of the throws Will Levis has made. I feel bad because Will Levis actually is an alumni of my high school. He went to Xavier High School in Middletown, Connecticut. So I was kind of rooting for him. Ironically, non sequitur, there was once upon Tim Boyle also went to Xavier. There was once a period like last year where Will Levis and Tim Boyle were both starting in an NFL game, which made my high school very proud, but they both stink. So it kind of goes the other way. Capitalizing on bad decisions used to be what Bill Belichick made a lot of money off of. Do you think this is kind of thing where they're going to be throwing a lot of confusing defensive looks at, is it Rudolph, is it Levis, whoever it is, or are they going to kind of allow the talent to dictate how the defensive strategy goes?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say you can just play your game. And I think playing straight up has and could be effective here. Like, obviously you want to have some disguises in there. You don't want to be oversimplified, but I don't think they need to make it super complex. Bill Belichick would always approach these younger and experienced quarterbacks and just play kind of vanilla, but with just like one little wrinkle to catch them off guard. And I think that that's going to be fine here, right? You look at the turnovers that the Titans have had. They had 4 against the Lions. They've had a turnover on every single game this year. They're averaging over 2 turnovers on offense in a given week. So for me, that's what I'm looking for. I'm expecting the Patriots secondary to come down with something. I'm expecting Gonzalez to come away with a turnover, an interception. I'm expecting a safety to come down with something, whether it's Duggar or whoever it is out there. I'm expecting there to be some sort of a turnover forced. And it's because they have a very high bad throw rate. They don't protect the football. They lead the league in interceptions thrown. They are pretty careless with it. And so if I'm the Patriots, I'm setting the target on 2 turnovers. You want to win the turnover margin by 2. I expect them to at least get 2 opportunities that are really, really good for them to get the turnover. And I'm kind of expecting Gonzalez to be one of them because he's going to be out there against Calvin Ridley. And if you look at the entire Titans offense, you got Tony Pollard leading the team with over 600 yards, through the ground and on the air. But then the actual passing attack is Calvin Ridley and a bunch of not much. Like Tyjae Spears has 190 yards. Tyler Boyd has 184 yards. DeAndre Hopkins isn't on the team anymore. You have a lot of players that are averaging fewer than 30 yards per game. So if you can dedicate Gonzalez to stopping Calvin Ridley, and you can stop Tony Pollard, you're going to win this game pretty comfortably if you get 2 turnovers.
Possibly famous last words, Rich Hill. What I'm looking for in this game, again, I think the secondary matches up very well on the receivers. I wonder if Calvin Ridley's having any, probably not because he got a lot of money. I wonder if he's having any kind of buyer's remorse on going to the Titans over the Patriots. Again, you never know, but I can't imagine he's like, this is a good move career-wise for me right now, particularly if Gonzalez shuts him down again. That'd be really cool to see. Maybe they'll get Ridley out of there for future games. But that is neither here nor there right now. What I want to see, what I've not seen really in a while, I want to see the defensive front just wreak havoc in the backfield. Yep. I'm gonna go Keon White as my X factor. He's been kind of quiet the past couple of weeks. This could be like a 2 or 3 sack day for him if he kind of get back off and up on what we knew him to be. And I think the way he played early was one of the main reasons they traded Matthew Judon, besides the fact that Judon was not part of the long-term plans. But I think Keon White can have a huge day coming off the edge.
Yeah, no, I like that. I mean, someone is going to be disruptive. I think that there's going to be players that could do that. I think that the Lions did a great job of being super disruptive for them over the course of the game. And obviously the Patriots aren't the Lions, which is a sad thing to say out loud, Alec. I've never said that, but that is quite disappointing to say. But you see who they've been able to generate pressure with. They did a good job with some disguises, but they've been able to pressure just defensive front against this Titans offensive line. And so I love the idea of Keon White. I love the idea of Dietrich Wise having a day, Anthony Jennings, like the players on the edge are going to be the key. Those are my X factor is, if Tony Pollard is going to be limited, it's going to be this defensive front production. And the idea of creating discomfort for the quarterback, as well as removing the rushing attack, sits with the players on the edge. And if you have White, I'll choose Jennings on my end. But that's what I think. We also haven't even talked about the Uche trade. But I think that the Patriots just can sit on the edge, try and squeeze the pocket a little bit. And if they can win the line of scrimmage specifically on the edge, again, I feel like they're going to have a good time creating a lot of pressure on the quarterback, forcing them into bad throws, and being able to capitalize with turnovers.
It's funny, Rich, until you just said that, I had completely forgotten about the Josh Uche trade, which leads me to believe he was not the most impactful player for the Patriots this year. I would like to see more than a 2026 6th-round pick, I think, what they got for him.
Yep, not a lot.
It's like a half-season rental. I get it, but I would have liked maybe a 2025 6th-round pick, but that's okay. He never quite replicated his one good year. He bet on himself, and he failed. And best of luck, Josh Uche. I loved the pick when it came in, but he never quite managed to make it out. And look, I think their linebacker core is enough. I think Ellis is playing really, really well. I think they have some good linebackers. I think when Juwan Bentley comes back, he's going to be I'm not worried about the linebacking core. It's not like he represents this big hole in the roster now, and they're just stacking him up for next year and beyond. All right, is there anything else you want to talk about regarding this Titans game or get to predictions?
Let's get on to predictions, man.
All right, today's predictions, as always, brought to you by GameTime.co. It is the best place to get tickets to see your favorite teams or events. Makes it easier than ever. It filters out all the fluff and only shows you the incredible deals on the great seats. You don't have to waste any time working through the thousands of tickets. You get Game Time picks. It makes it easier to save more on sports, concerts, comedy. You get all-in pricing, my favorite feature, because it allows you to say exactly what you want to pay up front. No hidden fees, no surprise taxes. You can get a panoramic view with seat views from your seat on the app before you buy, and a lowest price guarantee. Or Game Time will credit you 110% of the difference. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time picks. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem the code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. It's prediction time, more accurately, and I had the Patriots winning this game last week. You had the Patriots losing this game last week, so the hammer is back where it rightly belongs on
Glad
my
to be
side
wrong.
of the table. I had like 20, I think it's 30-21 was my pick, so not quite as high scoring as I thought it was going to be, but that's okay. A win is a win. I think the Patriots win this game. If it was at home, I'd feel a lot better about it, but the Titans are a really bad team. They're just not a talented team, and I think the Patriots are riding some momentum. Again, neither of these teams are going anywhere. This obviously is a game that in a long-term, you want the Patriots kind of lose this game. If you're one of those draft pick guys, this is going to have some tiebreaker potential on who picks top 5 in the draft, but I still think the Titans are that talented a team. I think the Patriots are in much better position, and they'll be much better served to build off momentum that was generated in this Jets game. A lot will depend on if Praise versus Brissett. I think if Brissett plays, the Titans can win the game because Brissett's going to be inaccurate, some more 3-and-outs, and I can see a scenario where the Titans just kind of just keep running the ball and run for like $175 and 2 scores and win it like 18-13. I can see a game like that everyone turns off by halftime because it's just insufferably boring. But I'm going to go with the positive practice reports that Drake May is looking good. He will play on Sunday, and he will be able to air it out, extend some plays with his legs, and get the running game going. Because as a passing threat and a running threat, they have to respect that, and it'll open up holes for a couple of long scoring drives. And the Patriots take this one something like 24-14.
Love it. Love it. I also feel like the Patriots will win this one, even though it's on the road. The Titans are in fire sale mode. They are done with this year. They are dealing with a lot of injuries. I think that the Patriots have the answer to what they have on offense in their passing attack with Calvin Ridley. I think Gonzalez is going to, obviously you're not going to cement your position again, the game against the Titans, but he'll continue his streak of really strong performances. And then it really comes down to, can they stop the run? And then can the Patriots score 20 points? Because if they can score 20 points, this Titans team can't do that. They are without a doubt one of 3 teams that are in the bottom of the barrel for the league, along with the Patriots. But it's the Patriots, it's the Panthers, it's the and the Titans. Those are the 3 bottom of the barrel teams in the NFL. You could throw the Jaguars in there a little bit. I'd be open to listening about the Giants as well, and the Browns as well. But like the Titans and the Patriots and the Panthers are the worst in the league. I think the Patriots are a little bit better, and this will be one of the only times this year where we get to say that. And so I think that the Patriots are going to win this one. I think Drake May is going to be under center. And if he's able to do that, I think that the Patriots win this one pretty comfortably, something like 31-13.
31-13. I'd love 30 points in the game.
It's going to happen.
If they score 30 points, Rich, do you think they will all come via offensive points, or will there be any kind of pick sixes, fumble recoveries, or punt returns?
Yeah, I mean, I think that the Titans also have one of the worst just overall performances in all phases. Like you look at how other teams have had success scoring against them. They've had 2 interception turns allowed, and they've had a punt return or a punt blocked that was returned for a score. So people are scoring in all 3 phases. I think primarily it'll come on offense, but I think that'll be set up by some favorable turnovers. We're saying we're going to hope the Patriots win the turnover margin by 2 or more. I wouldn't be surprised if one of them set up the Patriots in the red zone just to start. And so it's just be a simple Ramondre Stevenson waltz into the end zone. And so there's going to be a few short drives that can lead to those 31 points, but I'm kind of expecting it to be just, 4 scores on offense plus a field goal where, Ramondre gets a couple. And then, as I mentioned earlier, Hunter and DeMario might have a few.
I'll take that. Then very interesting slate of games coming up. Again, with the Titans coming up, and then I think it's the Bears and the Rams on deck after that, which are teams that are very enigmatic, and I'm not sure where we're going to stand with those. But again, we will talk about those later. Psyched to come off a win. These podcasts are always much more fun when we're talking about wins versus humiliating losses, and hopefully we will not be talking about another humiliating loss this time next week, and we keep the momentum going.
Cool. Awesome. Well, until next time, Alec, you have a good one.
You too, buddy. See ya.